What's up, everybody? A Ward here, and I'm here to let you know that the A Ward Show is now officially brought to you by the Ripple to Wave Foundation, where they're manifesting waves of impact, one ripple at a time. Ripple to Wave empowers volunteers to create real change, from mentoring youth and protecting the environment to supporting those people in need. That includes seniors, veterans, and even animals. Yes, even animals. Every project is a chance to make your ripple in the community, and together, those ripples form waves of impact. The team at Ripple to Wave stays active with projects and events just about every weekend, and they're growing fast. Their Albuquerque, New Mexico team just launched their first project, and they're only getting started since their official launch on June 2nd of 2025. Get involved, volunteer, and learn more at rippletowavefoundation.org. That's Ripple, the number 2, wavefoundation.org. Follow them on all their socials at Ripple, the number 2, Wave Foundation on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to them on YouTube. Together, let's make some waves. Looking for a cut that actually fits your style? Tap in with the Common Chair, a Scottsdale-based barber studio delivering high-quality haircuts, fades, and full grooming services. Whether you're going for a timeless classic or modern look, the Common Chair makes sure you leave sharp every single time. Professional, reliable, and tailored to you. Book here at thecommonchair.com, and make sure you follow them on IG at The Common Chair. Right now, get $10 off your first cut when you add AWARD, AYEWARD, to the notes when you book. The Common Chair, luxury for everybody. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the A Ward Show. I'm your host and curator and engineer and videographer. I am all the things. I am A Ward, and I thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of my show. I'm recording this on a Tuesday around 6:30 Mountain Standard Time, damn near West Coast. I think we're on the same time as the West Coast at this point. And, you know, I ain't talked about sports in a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been kind of marinating, making sure that everything that that's been going on, I can actually, you know, consume and just really enjoy, you know what I'm saying? And, but before we get into all that, make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell their cousins, their mama, their grandmama, and them, pull up on the A Ward Show. Make sure you guys hit that link tree and hit your boy up on all the socials. Make sure you guys follow my partners, Ripple to Wave, The Common Chair, A. and Lost Perception. All of their info is down in the description below. And if you cannot watch this on the YouTube, make sure you guys pull up on your favorite audio podcast sharing platforms and go listen to the sultry sounds of A Ward. Like I said, man, there's been a lot going on. Basketball finals are here. The NBA finals are here in full effect. The Eastern Conference finals were ass cheeks because there was no competition. But the Western Conference Finals was a different story. We'll get into all that. We'll get into some predictions. Some big moves running around the NFL right now. Big news and big moves. And we'll jump into all that. So, this is that time where I talk about sports and I probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is Yo No Say Nada.
Yo no sé nada.
All right. For all the people that are watching, I'm trying something different. I'm trying something on Riverside. I've had Riverside for a minute, used Riverside when did the show with my boys over there at Stirring the Pot. Shout out to Stirring the Pot. Shout out to my guys down in Houston. Y'all know what time it is. And matter of fact, I think I'm going to have those guys back on the show either all at the same time, like the whole Stirring the Pot crew, or, individually. And we're going to do some football predictions at the beginning of the year. We'll predict who's going to make the playoffs. We'll predict the seeding. And then what I typically do, and shout out to my boy Zeke, maybe I'll have my boy Zeke on the show. And then we revisit it around the midway point. So around week 8, we look at it, see kind of where everything is gone, see how right or wrong we were, and we make amendments at the middle of the season. Now, once we make those amendments, then that's it. That's all we got. That's all she wrote. You hear me? So, let's get right into this, man. Let's get right into the sports. And I feel like I don't know, I think the theme of this show, this episode is going to be something like The Young and the Restless. How things have changed. I don't know. I'm still working on a running theme, and hopefully we'll get there by the time this show ends. So, again, for the people that are watching, I got a lot of stuff going on the desk right now. I'm still trying to figure it out. Let me know if you guys are feeling the clutter, the mess, or do I need to dial it down a little bit? One more thing, too. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out to Nick. I've been meaning to shout him out, and I shouted him out the first time I got the sign up here. But shout out to my boy Nick McGann for hooking this sign up. Customized woodwork just for the homie because we've been friends for so long. And shout out to him, man. It's dope to have great friends. But let's get into these sports, man. And this story's been out for a couple of weeks. And I had talked about it a few episodes ago about at that point, Aaron Rodgers had not been signed, and how the Steelers were still kind of waiting on him, and I felt like they should have just given up at this point and said, "Hey, we got these young pups out here. We're gonna raise them up, and let Aaron Rodgers ride off into the sunset." And some of that ended up being true, and some of it wasn't, because Aaron Rodgers did return to the Steelers. I think it was like a week after I put that episode out. Ended up returning to the Steelers. Says this will be his last year, that he is going to retire after this year. He's going to make this one last season with Mike McCarthy. And he's going to, no matter what happens, this is it. This is it tour. And, obviously I've had some time to really think about it, break it down, try to understand it. Because, again, I was very, very against him coming back to the Steelers for what felt like a no reason. Like it felt like a lose-lose situation. It felt like they weren't really in a real contention role for a Super Bowl. And they have an older roster. They have some young guys there that, from everything that we were hearing early, they felt like they could compete. at least to start to see what the future looks like. And I just felt like it would just be a huge distraction for the Steelers. And so when he signed, I was left, as many fans were, and I'm pretty sure as many Steelers fans were, to try to understand, okay, what is the actual meaning of this? And then there was, before he had signed, there was the news that he could possibly sign with the Cardinals. And we've kind of seen what they have done, the route they have taken. But I think a lot of people were like, okay, but why? But why? And I say, why? Yeah, I hit him with that. Everybody talk about that Michael Jackson. And I say, why? Come on now. Take it to a different octave on you. You know what I'm saying? But again, this doesn't make sense for the future of the Steelers. This is not, the Mike McCarthy hiring kind of left people stumped because they've always kind of went younger, somebody they think they're going to have there for the next 20 to 30 years. They haven't been really known to make moves that are short-term moves. They let their coaches kind of figure it out, build a culture, lean on some of the past culture of the Steelers. And so this move does not make any sense for the future of the Steelers in the macro sense. But in the micro, this is kind of, and the more I've thought about it, this is kind of a sneaky, like a 1 year, buy some time type of move. Hey, Ward, what you mean by that? Well, here's what I mean. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, they had signed enough talent that it might have been able to fool the casual fan, the regular football fan, even the hardcore Steelers fan, to be like, okay, but we're still trying to compete, at least in this division. And even with him coming back, but if he had come back and said, hey, I don't know what the future's going to hold, but I wanted to come back because I love what we built last year, blah, blah, blah. It still would have left some type of speculation or hope to some of the Steelers fans that, we're really trying to compete in this division. And I'm not saying they're not, but what I'm saying is it buys them time for the no matter what happens. It is a 1 year Aaron Rodgers going away tour, retirement tour. This is it tour. This is the last time you will see me in an NFL uniform. And so, in Aaron Rodgers fashion, the story's going to be about him. The story will be about Aaron Rodgers, which takes a level of pressure off of the Steelers. It also allows for some development, because you can't get better unless you actually play the games, but at least to help some of that learning curve for those young pups they got. And then it takes a level of pressure off of Mike McCarthy. Because no matter what happens this year, this is almost like a red shirt year for Mike McCarthy. It doesn't matter. As long as let's say they break even, they go 500, they don't make the playoffs, but they don't have a losing season. That was the biggest thing we heard about Mike Tomlin all those years. They don't lose. Let's say that happens. Well, successful year, right? We got to see Aaron Rodgers. We'll probably see some glimpses of the magic that he had in Green Bay for all those years. Glimpses. We'll see, Mike McCarthy and A-Rod, Kiki Ken on the sideline, man, reminiscing about the old days, talking about the old days, acting like they've been the best of friends this whole time. And nobody will necessarily think about the record, think about the divisional record. And so, especially inside of that division, because we're going to talk about the Browns in a little bit. The doo-doo Browns, you know what I mean? But it affords a level of, man, no matter what happens, we just in here for the ride, to see the scenery. And so, again, it allows for that level of like, buy some time. Redshirt year for Mike McCarthy, because he can still work on these young quarterbacks without necessarily having to throw them out there. Because if he had to throw them out there this year, and okay, we understand young quarterbacks, maybe not any level of expectation for them to actually win, but we didn't see any growth, and then we get into next year and then we don't see growth again. Now we're like, yo, okay, why did y'all make the Mike McCarthy hire? So this damn near guarantees Mike McCarthy at least 2 years. And I know the Steelers, like I said, they don't run away from coaches easily. I don't think they'll be scared easily of a little bit of setback, but it definitely helps the fact that Aaron Rodgers is essentially on the This Is It tour. I mean, think about the last year with Kobe. God rest the Mamba. Think about his last year, the going away tour. How he was treated. It was just like, it didn't matter if the Lakers won. We just wanted to see Kobe from time to time show those glimpses and appreciate the greatness. And I think that's what this will be for Aaron Rodgers. I think this helps the Steelers not necessarily have to run into rebuild, but kind of walk into a rebuild. And it definitely helps Mike McCarthy in what I would say, like I said, like a red shirt coaching year. Staying with the NFL, the young and the restless. That's what I'm saying. I started at the beginning of the show. I said that the young and the restless. And I also said how times have changed. But I like the young and the restless. For all my OG VHS tape, couldn't watch nothing because mama had them things on. She had the soap operas on. Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So it's kind of the theme of the show, the young and the restless. And I don't know if it's young and or restless for the Rams. Well, I know it's for sure restless. Because June 1st, Myles Garrett traded from the Browns to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Verse and a few picks. Not going to get into the details of the trade. That's what they have NFL insiders for. I ain't here for that. But let's talk about this. How did the Rams keep doing it? How do they keep making these moves year after year after year that keep them highly competitive. They lost Aaron Donald. They should not have been back even in the position they were in last year. Matthew Stafford was broke back Matthew. Pause. Press play again. I mean, they didn't know if he was going to play, didn't know when he was going to play, didn't know how, like, just didn't know about Matthew Stafford going into last year. Boom, MVP. And a couple of, and ran into a great team in the NFC Championship, obviously the eventual Super Bowl winners in the Seattle Seahawks. And, had some mistakes during that game. But they should not be in this position. And then they start off the offseason by going to get one of the best defensive backs in the league in Trent McDuffie. And then they go get arguably one of the top 5 best defensive players of all time. Depending on how you look at it. We got the LTs of the world. We got the Deion Sanders, the prime times of the world. We got the Fridge, Reggie White. A lot of people said Aaron Donald. But there's a real argument for Myles Garrett. There's many others. I'm leaving a ton of people out. Okay? So we're not here to name every great defensive player, but I'm saying Myles Garrett is in that conversation. Now, he's not a super in his prime, Myles Garrett. I believe he's 30 or going to be 30. But come on, man. This dude just beat everybody's ass last year. No belt, go get me the switch. And now you put him on that defense with the Rams, who just got Trent McDuffie, and they still got a bunch of dudes. And we'll see offensively how they do. We'll see how Puka Nacua comes back from all the shenanigans. Reports were that he went to go get help. But if you have a seasoned veteran quarterback and they still have a ton of weapons, good line, what's the best way to complement that type of quarterback? Well, let's go get him a defense. And they're going all in now. First of all, this sucks for Jared Verse. Sucks for Jared Verse, man. To have to be on the Rams, be on a legitimate Super Bowl contender. A lot of people I think they were still favorites, or one of the favorites, depending on what sports book you look at, to win the Super Bowl this year coming up. And that was with Jared Verse. So now it's like, man, you gotta go down there to the Lamb. There's no disrespect to the Cleveland fans, but y'all know, man, it's reports coming out of Cleveland right now. And then after this trade, it's like, man. And then GM, I forget his name, he had an interview, his deal's not done. And then reportedly, and I don't know if this is bots and AI reporting this crap, but Jared Verse reached out to Max Crosby to see what happened there with the Ravens, and basically he trying to figure out, hey man, how do I mess this fiscal up? How do I get back to Los Angeles? So I mean, it sucks for Jared Verse. And the Browns just keep browning. the Browns just keep Browning. They don't know who's going to start. Could it be Deshaun Watson coming off the massage table? We don't know. Could it be Shedeur Sanders? We don't know. Does Dylan Gabriel really we don't know. I mean, if for nothing else, it'll be great to just pay attention to for the mess. Just for the first time, Jared Verse has to do an interview, man. He's like, God damn it. I mean, you already see Myles Garrett. He did his press conference. He was out there chasing. You know what I mean? So, but it does. I want to ask you guys this, and you let me know in the comments section below. Does this make the Ty Simpson pick make more or less sense? Because I believe that it makes it make more sense. Now, I can understand the argument that, okay, if they kind of had this feeling they were going to go all in no matter what, then it really, why wouldn't you get a player that could really contribute right away? And I do understand that. I just think for Sean McVay, I think two things were happening at the same time. And I think it was, we know we're going to go try to get, we're trying to get another chip. And we know we're going to try to do that. We also know by doing that, we are not putting the franchise and the future of the franchise in a good position. So I think that was the battle. And they were like, we know we're not picking a quarterback. Not next year, not for the next few years. So what do? How do we attack this? Well, this might be better than any option draft-wise we're going to be able to do. And since we know we're going to try, like for the next 3 years, we're going to try to be uber competitive, then let's just go get somebody that we could sit at least for a year behind Matt Stafford, and then we'll reevaluate, reassess next year. So I believe that it makes more sense, but I do understand the argument. If you want to say, well, come on, A. Ward, this is why they shouldn't have drafted the quarterback, because they knew they were going to go after it. They could have drafted a Mekhi Lemon or another wide receiver, or there were many things that they could have done in that position that would have benefited the team more now, and I understand. That's just me. I understand why they took Ty Simpson. And this has nothing to do with Ty Simpson's talent or anything like that. That's a separate conversation. But right now they calling Aaron Donald. And I know he's been very clear. I know he's been extremely clear. I'm not playing football. I'm done. I said I'm retired. Sean McVay called me every year since I retired. I'm not coming back. But, man, I mean, he's got. I mean, he looks like he's still in football shape to some regard. Wouldn't even have to come back for the full season. You know what I mean? The Rams still have his rights as a retiree. Like, I don't know. Might have to make the sweet deal. Aaron Donald, come on back, man. Could you imagine? Even if Aaron Donald's like 50%, he doesn't need to be before he retired Aaron Donald. He just need to be like, okay. And that would still be tremendous. Fantastic, if you will. Rams be like,
spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now.
Come on now. Come on now. All right, this news, we've known about this. We've known about this. Let me sip the tea. A.J. Brown to the Patriots. Confirmed June 1st, as they said. And, I mean, we knew it. So it's done. It's been dragged out. It's been reported, over-reported. Diana Rossini said something about it. You know, because she knew. She had the inside scoop, if you will. And turns out to be that was mad true. And so it's done. A.J. Brown is no longer on the Philadelphia Eagles. He is now a New England Patriot. He seems to be happy, ecstatic that this is finally done. So he says it's something that, you know, he's wanted for a long time in his career. Patriots are his favorite team. He said even as it was reported that even as a Philadelphia Eagle, he had New England Patriots gear in the crib. And so it's over. It's done. This part of that conversation is now done. And we can move on. We can move on to what's going to happen. And I think my only question is, did anybody really win in this situation? And here's what I mean. Of course, if you're a Philly fan, you can look at it two ways. You can look at it from the standpoint of just talent, and you just lost a great talent in A.J. Brown. I mean, I guess you could look at it a few ways. You can also look at it from the standpoint of, well, this whole thing has been a distraction for the last 2 to 3 years, and we've been winning in spite of it. So maybe this will galvanize. Because I don't think A.J. Brown should be considered like, I think all wide receivers are somewhat divas. Like, I think we need to get rid of the mind, like even thinking about wide receivers as not being somewhat selfish. It just kind of is the nature of the position. And so I don't think A.J. Brown is like that level of, you know, cancer or diva. I just think it was tough for the system that they had there in Philly. And so maybe this helps going forward. Maybe, you know, you can look at it from a standpoint of like, okay, we get a little bit of that distraction out of the building. I said before, we'll find out, you know, what the issue is. A lot of Philly fans dove in on the comments on my TikTok and, you know, had a lot of great things to say. Some of them went back and forth because, you know, they know more than I do. They're right there entrenched in that Philly stuff. And so, you know, they were able to talk about it, educate me on some things. But also, you know, bring up some great points. And so, yes, there's a multitude of people that are kind of responsible in the whole Philly thing. You could look at Nick Sirianni, you could look at the change in the coordinators, you can look at, you know, is it Jalen Hurts, is it A.J. Brown? And depending on how you feel about whoever and whatever the situation is, you're going to lean that way. But I'm simply saying, okay, now we'll find out. Now we'll know specifically when it comes to Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, which has been the picture that's been painted, who was a little bit more right all the way. We'll figure it out. But I really don't know. New England won because they got a great receiver who can still ball. I mean, that's going to help Drake May tremendously. But I just think, I don't know. I don't know if New England's in a better position just this year than Philly will be from a schedule standpoint. But I think it's obvious that A.J. Brown is not really concerned with championships anymore, or maybe not as much as he was after winning one. And he wants to continue to get that bag. And the only way you get that bag in the NFL, you got to put them numbers up because they will come for your head. Pause, press play. And be like, look, man, see, you didn't have as many receptions, this, that, and the third, so we're going to have to, you know, we can't offer you what you're asking for. So I know who did win. A.J. Brown won in the sense of he's not. He feels like he's somewhere that he wants to be. But we'll see. It is yet to be seen. NBA Finals, baby. Excuse me. NBA Finals are here. NBA Finals are in full effect. And I had said a little bit before the end of the NBA season that the NBA aesthetically just wasn't what I was used to. And I will say this, for the bulk of this playoffs, it felt that way. But there were some stories. And when the NBA got stories,
spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now.
Give me 14 of them right now. Spectacular. And I feel like, if for nothing else, that this NBA Finals gave us the two, right now, at the end of the NBA season, the two best stories in the NBA. And that is the Knicks, that is the Spurs. That is Knicks mania that's going on in New York right now. And I don't know if I could be out there, because they going crazy in the city of New York. All the boroughs, you know what I'm saying? Every single one of them. Shout out to my boy Merkham's, originally from New York. And they going crazy out there. And then you look at the San Antonio Spurs and the understanding that we knew this guy was going to be, just from the measurables, going to be a damn problem. But Wembanyama has pulled up to the NBA and said, damn it, if I don't own it, I got some stock in it. I'm a shareholder. And by the end of it, this will be my company. Because he right now is easily the best player in the NBA right now. Now, accomplished, we're not there yet. Legacy, we're not there yet. But man, through the OKC series, the Western Conference Finals, that we were all excited about, couldn't wait to get to, even as a Lakers fan. Once we got up out of there, I was like, all right, cool. Let's see these Spurs, and let's see the OKC Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. And I think a lot of us felt at that time that whoever the winner of the Spurs and the Thunder was going to be the definite NBA champion. I'm not so sure about that. We'll get into that in a second. But as we watched this Western Conference Final play out, in the first game, where it looked like at the end of that game, Shai Gilgeous just looked defeated. Like, we don't know what to do with this dude. Like, we don't know how to guard him. We don't know how to attack. We don't know what to do. And the rest of the crew for the Spurs, Castle, all of them, man, balling. You know, Fox was out for a few games, ended up coming back. Wasn't really a factor in the offense, except for in the fact that the turnovers went way down. Like, just didn't turn the ball over, which helped a ton. And just that, I mean, that whole squad is young, but, you know, it just, after game one, it was like, okay, hold on. And then game two, game three, OKC showed. You know, okay, if we're physical with Wemby, and I'm not gonna get into the hyperbole of the fouling. Now these boys was flopping for the OKC Thunder. We all know that. We all know that. And I don't know if you guys saw I forget the name of the company, but they came out with a game that was like Operation for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think the name of the game was Unethical Hoops. And I was watching Juju, who does the alley-oop with I can't remember her name. Her name just slipped my mind. Trista. You guys look it up. It's called the alley-oop with it's Trista. I forget her last name. And Juju and I think Tony. They're all from the Dan Le Batard show. But Juju had he was like, man, they could have called it flopperation. You know, they missed a grand opportunity. Although they've been given a cease and desist order. I know I'm all over the place. Let me get back to it. But yes, they were flopping all over the place, but they did. You know, OKC's still a really great team, and they had moments. And Chet Holmgren, I mean, you know, Chet, he just didn't show up. But damn all that, man. Wembanyama he's a damn alien. Now I'm gonna say this about the Spurs, man, because a lot of people have been acting like, yo, man, it's just so good, man, for the Spurs to be back in that thing, man. They just been struggling. No, man, hold on. And it has been exciting to watch, and I don't know who I'm going to root for. I will make my prediction, although I will not. I'm still going back and forth right now as we speak. But the Spurs have had 3 different eras of having an all-time big man, center, power forward, whatever, that had a nickname. They had the Admiral. They then got the big fundamental and won 5 of them things. They had a little bit of a drop-off, and then they got the alien. Come on now. The Spurs, they're one of the best organizations in the NBA. I believe they are number 5 on the all-time list of teams with multiple championships. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Boston Celtics, it's the Lakers, and they're way above everybody else. And then it's the Warriors, the Chicago Bulls with the 6 from with Michael Jordan, and then it's the Spurs, if I'm not mistaken, in that order. So they're one of the best organizations in the league. And every era they just get a big dude to center with a nickname that's going to be a Hall of Famer. Crazy work. Knicks have been on a super tear. Obviously, just after those 2 losses to Atlanta, just whooping everybody's ass. I mean, just big broming. And they're playing very well. And as I was at first, when the Spurs were announced to go to the champion, or when they were announced, but when they won the Western Conference Finals to go to the championship, I was like, yo, they ain't like Wemby. And Spurs or the Knicks are a smaller team. But then as I kind of looked at it, sometimes you got to sit back, do a little bit of research. And Anunoby, man, he does defend Wemby well. And so, and from the matchups that they have had, they defend Wemby well. So I believe the energy of the Knicks is going to, especially I think Game 3, Madison Square Garden, is going to be ridiculous. We'll see how they travel, if they travel to San Antonio, because those Madison Square Garden tickets are through the roof. Through the roof. Look up the numbers for like the nosebleeds. I think it's like 4,500. And I think it's like 1,200 at in San Antonio. So it's going to be an interesting series. At first I thought it was, I was thinking like gentleman sweep, because I just don't like the way that Wemby's playing right now is just ridiculous. And I think if they don't turn the ball over, I think they've got the defense. They got guys that can sit in the chair and slide them puppies for San Antonio. But Jalen Brunson and Cat and Coach Mike Brown, and how they've just transformed that whole offense for the Knicks after kind of running everything through Cat. I feel like and I said this a couple weeks ago, Mike Brown is extremely underrated as a coach. That I don't believe this is going to be a walk in the park for either team. So the only thing I think with the Knicks is that they've had some time off, and they've kind of had that for the last couple of series, so it might not affect them. I don't know. I really don't know here, fellas, peoples, ladies, everybody. I don't know. But I got to pick somebody, because y'all going to be like, stand on it. Hey, Ward, stand on it. Man, because if I say this, man, I really don't want Knicks fans to be all in the comments section with the bing bong. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. But I know what I'm watching. And a lot of people are saying it was too early for them to even be in this position in the Spurs. So give me the Spurs. Give me the Spurs in 6. Give me the Spurs in 6. Because I feel like if it goes, no. Give me the Spurs in 7. I changed that. Give me the Spurs. Give me the Spurs in 7. Spurs in 7. I had to think about like the finals setup, because it's like the home, the away games, all that stuff. So give me the Spurs in 7. And what I believe is going to be probably one of the most fun series in NBA Finals that we've seen in a while. And I really mean that. I think it's going to be a great series. I think the energy is going to be through the roof for both teams. Obviously for New York and everything that they have accomplished this year. And, we'll have to see. So I'm recording this, on June 2nd. I hope that I can drop this tonight as I'm recording, if not 6/3. So at least be out in the ethos before game 1. Game 1 is 6/3 tomorrow as of this recording. And then hopefully by next week, we can revisit, we can re-chop it up about what the hell's been going on in these streets, and I can talk to you about sports, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So all in all, the young, this was what this, we're going to bring it on back. The young and the restless for the Yo No Say Nada this week. The young is the quarterbacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Drake May, young man getting A.J. Brown to the Patriots. The Spurs and the Knicks both being young. The young Pittsburgh career of Mike McCarthy, even though he's been in the game for a minute. The young Ty Simpson. Does it make more sense now that the Rams have Myles Garrett? Or does it make less sense? Does that draft pick make less sense? But most of all, the restless. Aaron Rodgers restless for one more season, but this will be the last. The Rams are restless in their continual pursuit of making sure that Sean McVay goes out as an ultra legend, and they are stamped as one of the best teams to ever do it in their pursuit of a championship. Restless and trying to get players, and not just good players, great players, legendary players. Philly was restless in the situation with A.J. Brown and the team and reportedly Jalen Hurts. There's so much more to that story. I've been talking about Jalen Hurts for like damn near every episode at this point. And every time I do, people got crazy shit to say. But Philly was restless in that situation, so no more A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was restless, and he got himself to where he feels like he's going to be more successful with the New England Patriots, and we're all going to be restless after we watch the Knicks versus the Spurs, and what I believe to be an incredible NBA Finals. Again, my prediction for the NBA Finals is the Spurs in 7, but please don't hold me to that, because I'm telling you, I'm still not sure, but I believe that Wemby is going to be that much better. This is nothing to do with the Knicks, because I love Mike Brown. I'm trying to do some damage control here, y'all. I'm trying to do some damage control. So at the end of the day, when we watch the NBA Finals, I believe this is how we're gonna feel.
Spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now.
God damn. If y'all know where that clip's from, That's hilarious. I had to put that on the board. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for tuning into another week, another segment of Yo No Say Nada, where I talk about sports and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the A Ward Show. Make sure you guys hit that link tree. Hit your boy on all his socials. Make sure you guys go follow all of my partners, Ripple to Wave, The Common Chair, A Dot, and Lost Perception. Make sure you guys, if you can't watch the YouTube, go pull up to your favorite audio podcast sharing platform. I am there. And like, subscribe, comment, share. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend to tell their cousins, their mama, their grandmama, you know. Pull up on the A Ward Show, and I'll see you jive turkeys next episode.